Every year, a new batch of reptiles becomes insanely popular when they weren't before, and these 5 reptiles will be the most popular in 2026. Every year I make a list of the reptiles I think will be popular next year, and almost every single year I've been right about most or at least half of the list. This year I'm going to take some liberties, really go out there and give you a bunch of bonuses too. So it's a top 5, but there's like 7 or 8 animals on the list. Starting with number 5, red-eye crocodile skinks. Now keep in mind, just because I think they're going to be popular doesn't mean I think they're going to last in popularity. You remember how we saw axolotls jump up in popularity and go crazy in 2020 and 2021? I think red-eye crocodile skinks are going to be very much the same for the same reasons. They're really attractive. I mean, they're really darn cute. But the problem is you almost never see them. I've had red-eye crocodile skinks, and the reason that I don't have them anymore is because they're boring. They're super cute, okay? And they're easy to care for. They're an animal that you can have in a regular size enclosure. I mean, like a 20-gallon if you want it, or maybe 40 if you want something bigger. You plant it with some pothos, you give them a bunch of water, because they do like a lot of kind of murky water that's pretty shallow, and then murky substrate. Like they kind of just like it wet a lot of the time, but they're very much like a lot of other really interesting species. Borneo earless monitors, for example, as a dream species for almost all of us, but you never see them. And to pay $3,000 for a lizard that you'd never really see unless you bring them out isn't my idea of a good time. So crocodile skinks, the red eyes, the white eyes, but mainly the red-eyed crocodile skinks, which by the way, I have a tattoo of, okay? So like I really do like them, but this is the only one that I'm ever gonna keep because you're going to have a box full of dirt. Much in the same way that a Kenyan sand boa is just gonna come out to eat, red-eyed crocodile skinks are kind of the same. They're easy to breed, they're easy to take care of. I mean, if you wanna watch more videos, my buddy Diane at Reptiles is doing Project Mini Dragon. I really do think they're awesome, but if you're looking for a display pet, probably not the right one for you. In the same vein, number 4, knobtail geckos. Now these are gonna be popular, I think, for the very same reason that red-eyed crocodile skinks are. They're being bred way more in captivity, which I should focus here. There are going to be options to get imported animals for the red-eyed crocodile skinks. Always get a captive one. I promise you, it's gonna save you so much time and money, even if the purchase price is cheaper. With knobtail geckos, they're always going to be captive bred. They're an Australian species. Australia doesn't really export animals like that anymore. So you'll find them in an ethical way, which is great, and they're really darn cute, and I think that's why they'll be super popular. Plus, there's several different species. So if you want one that's like super duper cute, like the Levis, you can get one. If you want one that's a little bit more menacing looking, you can get that too. And the price points are basically everywhere. So if you want a $300 knobtail gecko or $200 knobtail gecko, get a Levis. If you want something that's $1,000, well, there's options there too. And they're called knobtail geckos because they have like these knobby tails, basically. Not like these knobby tails, they are knobby tails. And each species looks a little different. My favorite species is the Levis because they have those big giant eyes, as they all do, but they have a cute Pokemon-like face. They really, really do look just like Pokemon. And because they're so cute, it's hilarious when they do that threat display or defense mechanism where they're kind of lifting that tail almost over their head and waving it around. And the reason is because it's like a decoy for anything that wants to eat them. So for their predators, they're trying to make it look like their head so that they get attacked on the tail and then they can run away. This is pretty common amongst geckos and a lot of different animals. It's not really unique, but the way they do it is super duper cute. Plus, they're kind of an arid species where you can keep them really simply on a simple substrate in a small enclosure because they're very small geckos. They like it more arid, but they're not gonna freak out if you get little spikes of humidity as is normal in a house. They're gonna be taking off because they're so attractive, they're so easy to keep, and there's so many more people that are breeding them. Plus, there's some new CITES restrictions, which means wherever you live, people are gonna wanna sell them inside that country rather than ship them more than they did before. Our first snake on the list, number 3, house snakes. This is an obvious to me. I actually had a conversation with a guy who I really, really respect, who knows a lot about the hobby, and he told me that I was basically a doofus for suggesting that they're gonna be the most popular thing, but I promise you, they will be. Thanks mostly to this guy. This is Garrett Hartle, and this guy is doing his darndest. I think his entire life's mission right now, well, he's got lots of them, like preserve the super dwarf localities and make the coolest ever super dwarfs and breed cool stuff in a super dwarf reticulated pythons. But now all of a sudden his life mission is to make the coolest house snakes, and it's a good reason because house snakes are kind of the best pet snake for beginners, probably. I mean, they're so easy. You could literally keep these things anywhere. Like whenever the apocalypse happens, it's gonna be cockroaches, Keith Richards, and house snakes left, and that's it. They're so hardy, and even though we read care guides and we want to keep them at certain levels of humidity and temperature, you could have these basically at room temperature, or you could keep them like a Euromastix, or you could keep them like an axolotl. No, maybe not. Don't put them in water. But you know what I'm trying to say. And they'll survive. Obviously, give them your best. I'm just saying they're not fragile, which is really good for a lot of people who want to keep something and not have to like hyper focus on it. Keeping a pet is supposed to be fun, not take over your entire day like it is with a lot of other species that take so much effort just to keep alive. Another reason I think they're going to take off is because, well, not only the marketing, being that Garrett is, you know, getting everybody involved from me to Snake Discovery to Bob Bledsoe, and they're just being seen everywhere. They're at every expo now. There's so many different morphs, which is what helped with the ball python craze. Ball pythons are great, but what makes them really marketable is you can get them in every color of the rainbow, basically, which is the same thing with these guys. Maybe not as crazy as ball pythons, maybe not yet, or probably ever, but you can still get them in, you know, albinos, and there's ones that are basically leucistic and some that look almost green and different color eyes, and they're just super cool. And by the way, I'm talking about mostly Capensis being the best pet snake. There are Fuliginosus, which are the black ones that you see a lot. I just prefer Capensis. I think they're better. I've got a lot of them. They're awesome. Plus, they breed super fast, so although we're seeing a spike in pricing right now because they're new on the market, I really do think that's going to stabilize out, and you're going to be able to get yourself a regular Capensis for under $100 sometime next year. And when I say they breed a lot, I mean they're just egg-producing machines, just one after another, just clutch after clutch. Of course, all these are going to be easier to find too, that's part of it. So for example, with the house snakes, if you are looking to find them, look on Palm Street. Palm Street is my new favorite app, a fantastic way to buy and sell reptiles, whatever you're into. And because it's a fun auction, the price, you can get them for really, really great prices. We've seen some incredible auctions selling tons of animals for fantastic prices, and that's all thanks to Palm Street. Plus, if you're looking to buy something that's a little bit more unique or sell something more unique, there's up to 3-day auctions too. The long form auctions are now available. Plus, it's a community. Everybody who sells is vetted. There's no scamming or weird stuff going on. This is a real community for reptile lovers to get together. I've never felt more comfortable or safe shipping and buying reptiles than I do on Palm Street. So if you're looking to buy your newest pet for 2026 or maybe the end of this year, you gotta check out my new favorite app, Palm Street. Hit the link below whether you're buying or selling. Our number 2 animal on the list that I think is going to be really popular, and I don't agree with this, I don't think it's a good thing, it's axolotls. It's not that I don't think it's a good thing, I just don't get it. For some reason, I see a popularity again. They were really popular. I think they were in Minecraft or one of those games, right? In like 2022 or something, 2021. And they became so popular. And that's cool. But I think people realize very quickly that they're not really that much fun to watch or hang out with. You can't handle them. You can't pet them. You can't teach them tricks, you know? They're going to be in an aquarium, and you need to keep that aquarium really, really cold. I mean, in the 60s, they don't like it even in the 70s because they're from basically one lake that's left in Mexico, which is high in the mountains and it's very cold. And realistically, it's cool to have them because it's a species that they're not calling it functionally extinct, but if I had to guess, is functionally extinct. It'll definitely be extinct in the wild if it isn't already within our lifetimes. So having an endangered species that's being bred is cool because we have them. But other than the cool factor of you have something that's really not in nature anymore, I can't, like, it's fun to feed them. Feeding them is pretty cool. I mean, like, look at them. They hoover it up. That's cool, right? But I've had so many people recently, I'm talking about in the last like couple months, message me and say, hey, my kid wants an axolotl. What do you recommend? And I always say, not an axolotl. Like, don't get an axolotl. You can if you want, okay? If you have a place that's cool, or you have a chiller or whatever you want to do, cool. But I've had them and they were boring. They don't move. I mean, they aren't going to move for the whole day. Other cool things about them, it's a salamander, right? A fully aquatic salamander that has these really cute gills and cute eyes and a cute mouth, and they are cute to photograph, but that gets old fast. And they can regenerate basically everything. You rip an arm off, don't actually rip arms off your salamanders, please. I'm just saying if they lose an arm, they can regenerate it. They can regenerate vertebrae, they can regenerate gills. They can regenerate a bunch of stuff, which is cool because they're basically like an X-Men, you know? So I think that's gonna be the same thing as before. It's gonna be super trendy. I don't know what's going on. Let me know in the comment section. I'm old. I don't know what's going on in the world. And then you're just going to dip again when people realize they're boring. And then, I mean, the good thing is we're still at the point where they're super cheap because when you reproduce them, when you breed them, they give you hundreds of eggs. I've bred them, I've seen it, and these animals you can get for basically free. I mean, I remember in 2019 or 2020 maybe, whatever year it was, I bred a bunch of them and we were just giving eggs away to the point where the next time we got eggs, we just froze them because you can't even really give them away. And the number one animal that I see becoming very popular next year is tokay geckos. This is another one where I don't really get it personally. I just see what's happening. I mean, I do kind of get it. Tokay geckos are beautiful, okay? They're one of the most beautiful animals on Earth. An orange and blue gecko, although there's different other color phases, I realize, that now has a bunch of different morphs. They're cool as a display. I have some now, and I think they're really cool. And the morphs, you know, like, so people are kind of breeding them like tokay geckos. I just see them not really keeping up in terms of the pricing. So this is gonna be a short-lived thing in my opinion. And in terms of big geckos, they are the most beautiful, but they're not even the biggest. They're the second biggest after Leachianus geckos, which in my opinion are a better gecko. They're not as beautiful, but they're easy to care for, just like a crested gecko basically. They're more handleable by a long shot because tokay geckos, they have these crazy jaws and they do bite and they will hold on to you. I mean, they're trainable. There's guys like Dion out there, or people that we've seen actually at local expos that have tamed them down, but that takes some skill and time and patience. And they do say their name. Well, they don't say, they scream their name. So they're like a Pokemon, you know, like screaming their own name. But to me, I don't know, they climb everything, which is cool, but if they get out, good luck finding them or catching them. They're really fast. Even if you do, they're probably gonna make you leak a little bit. They're not my favorite gecko. My wife loves them, that's why we got them. I prefer Leachianus geckos. I don't think they're gonna take off in popularity. I think they kind of had their time in the sun, and until the price comes down, we're probably not gonna see too much popularity with them. But in my opinion, Leachianus geckos are cooler. You let me know in the comment section which one of the giant geckos you like best. Number one of the bonuses is dwarf monitors. I think this is pretty obvious. Everybody loves monitors. Monitors are cool, and if everyone could keep, you know, a black dragon, they probably would. But most people can't keep a 5 to 7 foot lizard. So I understand why you don't. And most monitors are too big for most people. But there's Kimberly rock monitors, and there are Pilbara rock monitors, and there are Aki monitors, and then there are the tree monitors. And I think that there's gonna be a popularity, especially with the ones like Akis, which are reasonably priced. Most people can't afford $3,000 for a tree monitor, but I've seen Akis as cheap as 150 bucks now, and they're fantastic lizards. You can keep them in a regular size enclosure, or reasonable is what I should say, size enclosure that you can buy basically anywhere. They don't need to be custom made. They like it pretty arid. We're talking about Akis here. You can keep them on a sand mixture so that it's really easy and cheap to outfit them and change their substrate all the time. You can find rocks or bricks in your back garden. In terms of basking areas, I mean, the expensive part is changing the UVB light and the heat bulbs, but you'd have to do that with your bearded dragon anyway. These guys just like it a lot hotter. Kimberly rock monitors is another one. They like it in similar to an Aki, but more arboreal, and they like it a little bit higher humidity. And these guys like our basking spot 140, some people say 150 Fahrenheit. And then I think tree monitors will start taking off in the next, I don't know, by 2030, I think that the price will eventually stabilize. There's more of us that are gonna be breeding them. I'm a guy who's starting to breed them, but right now I just think they're too expensive to be super popular. And your second bonus that I think is gonna be tail end, maybe in the next few years, are obscure boas. There are a lot of really cool boa species out there that, I mean, the BCIs and BCCs are popular. Even the Dumerals boas became really popular by 2020, 2021, thanks to Clint and myself and other people who talked a lot about them. But by obscure boas, I'm talking about, I think that emerald tree boas are going to, the price is going to stabilize a bit and people are going to be becoming more and more interested in them. And then random boas, like in my opinion, the Candoya are going to be really popular. I'm talking about the Solomon Island ground boas, and of course the Viper boas are cool, but probably not the best pet. But my opinion is Candoya carinata, or Indonesian tree boa, or Solomon tree boa. There's a whole bunch of different ones. These ones are found in Indonesia. They're an arboreal boa, and they have these crazy faces. I've seen them actually at expos now, bred in captivity in Pomona, and they are fantastic pets. I have 6 of them. I can't wait to breed them. They're freaking amazing. They give live birth. They're easy to take care of. They're arboreal, but they're small, so they don't need a crazy setup. Their small size and easy care is probably what's going to propel them to the next level. Plus, there's a bunch of different ones to choose from, even leopard boas, which are technically a BI, but they're different, you know? So Sonoran boas, just leopard boas, are the morph that I think is gonna be really popular. I think they're freaking cool and awesome, and I want to hear from you in the comment section below. What do you think the next big thing in 2026 is gonna be?